A special meeting of the Salem City Council was held remotely on Monday, August 10th, 2020 at 6 p.m. for the purpose of taking action on the changing of specific polling locations for the upcoming 2020 primary election and the general election due to COVID-19. Election order for the September 1st, 2020 and second passage of 3 traffic ordinance amendments. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law 30A-20, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, the special Salem City Council meeting will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend the meeting can be found on the city's website at www.salem.com. No in-person attendance of the members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technology means that in the event that we are unable to do so, despite the best efforts, we will post on the city's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of the proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch and listen to the meeting may do so in the following manner. Please click the link below that's on the city's website with the password 892482. Or go to the website link https://zoom.us/join, enter webinar ID 825-2935-3020, followed by the meeting password above as was entered to do so on the screen. Participants can dial the toll-free number at 877 853-5257 or 888-475-4499. Notice this meeting was posted on August 6, 2020 at 4 p.m. Currently absent are Councilor
Dominguez and Councilor Dibble.
Councilor Dominguez, Councilor Dibble. 2, 3, 4.
Councilor Dominguez just called me. He didn't get the link.
8, 9, 10, 11.
He's told.
Okay, so we'll expect, I haven't heard from Councilor Dibble, but we have Councilor Dominguez who's trying to log on as we speak. Eileen, were you able to send that to him?
Yep, I'm going to do that now. All right.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Yep.
Some others, yeah. So that's all. We know they're leaking, so some people die, but that's okay.
Did the leak bad downstairs?
Yeah, too bad.
You all set, Eileen?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. You should be joining shortly.
Great.
Okay.
Communications from city officials.
Yeah, call
I'm
Michael.
gonna call Michael, tell him to come back.
All right.
Maureen, you're on. You know, not.
You mute yourself, please.
Sorry, my wash machine was leaking downstairs.
Hello, everybody.
All right.
Let the record reflect that Council Dibble has joined us and Council Dominguez. We have everyone in attendance. Communications by city officials.
The following order was submitted by the city clerk, Eileen Simons, relative to changing polling locations for the upcoming 2020 primary and general elections. Please see the adverse impact report included in the backup. And we have the order. If I don't know if Councilor Dibble would like to read the order or not.
Council Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following order was submitted by the city clerk, Eileen Simons, relative to changing polling locations for upcoming 2020 primary and general elections. Ordered that the following polling locations change be adopted by roll call vote for the upcoming 2020 primary and general elections. 1, Ward 1, Precinct 2, from 135 Lafayette Street to the Saltonstall Elementary School, 211 Lafayette Street. Number 2, Ward 2, Precinct 1 and 2, from 24 St. Peter Street, St. Peter's Church, Parish Hall to the Community Life Center, 401 Bridge Street. 3, Ward 7, Precincts 1 and 2, from 121 Loring Avenue, Enterprise Center to the Salem High School, 77 Wilson Street. And it shall be further ordered that not later than 3 days prior to changing of the polling location shall make publicly available on its website and at the office of the city clerk a report on its evaluation. Furthermore, when the new polling places have been designated pursuant to the new legislation of the Board of Registrars, shall post on the municipal website and at other such places as may be determined a description of the polling places, and shall notify voters by using electronic means to the extent possible, such as via email or reverse 911. And I move for adoption by roll call vote.
On the discussion, anyone have any questions?
No, this is really straightforward.
No, I know that Mr. Bates has joined us as well, in case there were any, and I know that Rochelle from the elections office was as well. I mean, obviously, this is due to, you can't have a polling location in a privately owned building, so we moved them all to municipally owned building for that reason. So if no one else has any questions? Councilor Appworth.
Thank you, Mr. President. I guess I would just question the Ward 2 change, and just to understand the mindset or the options that were considered there. I know it needs to be municipally owned. Curious if the annex was considered. It's just that location within Ward 2, there's not very many sort of auto-dependent, inaccessible locations for people on foot. And that's kind of a tough one for, I think, some residents in Ward 2. So just curious if I could understand the mindset and the rationale there.
Sure. So the St. Peter's, the social hall there is obviously very tiny. That was a move that we made when St. John's had thought they were going to sell the building. That doesn't have to be a municipally owned building. It's easier to be city property, but at the same token, it doesn't. Just so you know, it doesn't have to be. We had originally looked at the Community Life Center last year because it's very tight at St. Peter's no matter what we do. We are using 98 Washington Street as for early voting location, but even setting it up for early voting, it would not have been able to hold 2 precincts for a regular election day at all. And we're actually looking to permanently move to the Community Life Center for Ward 2. Just historically, just so you know, Ward 2 used to be up at the Pope Street high rise. So it wasn't always necessarily downtown in the past. So I think we had a little bit of that discussion with Councilor Madore about foot traffic and accessibility. I have talked to the Council on Aging because there are some Salem Housing Authority properties right near the church. And they're going to be setting up some transportation from that area, from the church area to the Community Life Center. Ward 2 has also been located at the Carlton School in the past, at Pope Street in the past, and so it's not always been in downtown area. It just has been there in the most recent past.
And I would just, thank you. And I would just add that just for future consideration, I mean, Ward 2 has, and I know that you know this, Eileen, the Ward 2 has always had great turnout. So I just look at sort of switching something and wonder what other than just space constraints, but it's always been a location that has been very accessible to affordable housing and people who live in sort of downtown area. It's just, we're sort of moving it to the edge. I know that there's more space out there. It's a newer building. But I know there are residents that have some concerns about accessibility out there if they don't have a car. Thank you.
Sure. And then the same thing with Ward 1, Precinct 2, not only being it not a city property, again, it doesn't have to be, but just in itself, it's a very small location. And you can see my adverse impact report. It's some of the photos to show how compact that is with all the voting booths near each other, next to each other, people coming in and out that aren't just voters that we can't control, those type of things. And then in the Salem State University Enterprise Center, due to the abundance of caution, the Enterprise Center is just trying to be fair to their tenants and not have too many people come in from the outside, which is totally understandable, and as well as a very small location too. So that was the other one that we wanted to move. We've done a lot of, a couple weeks ago before I did take some time off, we did a very thorough, we were going to try to consolidate all these into one building at the field house at the Salem State High School. That might be something that if we're looking to do in the future, that's something that we have some great plans for that, but it wasn't possible with even though the new legislation allowed us to consolidate, the Secretary of State's office and the election division wanted us to not to put too many places in once, and you had to prove that it was basically a necessity versus a want. And that's why we decided, after trying to do that and looking at all the options at the field house and at the high school, we had decided to basically now just keep the same polling locations, except for move the ones that we really had to due to social distancing. But I also really want to thank, before I get too far in, my assistants Maureen and Rochelle, Ray Joden, Ryan Monks was awesome. We looked high and low for all these different places, different configurations. I have a great election working team with Judith Riley from the Women's League of Voters, Cynthia Lynch from Salem State University, Perla Peguero from the Latino Coalition Committee as their representative, Nestor Gullion from BOSES. We have Chris Nagel and Rebecca Christie from the Commission on Disabilities. Cheryl Lapointe, as you may know, as a public resident and very knowledgeable with election law. And Council Masilla has become our council liaison to this group. And I just also want to thank all of them for their hard work so far. And to my board of registers, as you can see, Mr. Bates is here. Alex Mitch and Manuva helped me with the report, and Charles Barden has met with me and the mayor. And I also want to thank the administration. She's been great as well for all the support. So before I forgot all of that, I do want to say thank you to all those people as well. They've all been great to work for and very helpful. Sorry, I went off track a little bit, but I wanted to make sure I thanked all of them.
Council Madore, then Council Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Eileen and Maureen and Rochelle, for all your hard work and all those folks that you named to help you get through this especially tough year. I did send out an email to those on my mailing list, and there are about 450, 500 people on my mailing list, and the majority of feedback that I got was they understand why the relocation is proposed for Ward 2, but they're also not concerned, but disappointed that they won't be able to walk to vote. And if you have ever noticed the activity on election day outside of Ward 2, outside of St. Peter's, you would notice that most people do walk to vote in Ward 2. There's a fair number of people who drive, but you can see that people just kind of walk to and from work, or, it's like part of their day. So that centralized location being moved to the other end of the ward, that definitely was a disappointment for many. And so I was wondering if you had considered a second location or one location for each precinct during your considerations. And I understand that there's probably staff capacity issues, but was that ever considered?
Honestly, no. About the administration in the past, when we first got here, the biggest push 14 years ago now has been to consolidate polling locations. It's better, no matter what or what ward it is, it's better for myself and my staff, or the city clerk and the elections office, to have it in one place, less buildings to go, less buildings to be set up, break down for my DPW personnel. There's a lot of time that's put in behind the scenes to get those up and running. To be also not in the city control, it's very hard to sometimes work around somebody else's schedule. And it's just overall better resources. I only have to have one handicap machine. I only have to have, if I have in trouble with wardens and clerks, I only have to technically need one for both locations. So there's an abundance of reasons of consolidating polling locations and some benefits to that as well. Again, I know that people don't like change. It's hard to change. I do know, like, when we moved from 5 Broad Street of Ward 3, Precinct 1 facility over to the high school, people were up in arms about that, because some people could walk right next door to the Council on Aging at that time, where it was, people said, I'm going to absentee vote. I don't want to go all the way up to the high school. And now it's become second nature. So, you know, I understand, again, just to get some history, it's not always been in the downtown area, Ward 2. It's been, like I said, up at Polk Street. It's been off of Carlton School, where parking was terrible. I know they like it, and I'm not saying that, you know, when I can't go back there. I can't, only because you guys, it's a very big precinct. Depends what happens with the districting too. I might have to go up to 3 precincts. I don't know what's going to happen, but I might have to separate at that point. But there's a lot of not very big rooms and big publicly owned buildings anymore, unfortunately. So I know it's difficult for people to change, but I think they'll really like the room. It's very clean, it's very big, it's a lot of parking, it's very bright, very accessible once you get there in terms of automatic doors for the people that, the very terrible handicap entrance, you know, where we are now. You know, obviously the Community Life Center is made for that, for people of all ages. And I think it would be nice to take advantage of something that's, you know, that Salem put a lot of money into building for that reason and get more people out there and visiting the Life Center. I know the administration is very supportive of that move as well.
When you say administration, you're talking about mayor administration, right?
Yes.
Mr. President, if I may, I just have a few more questions. So Eileen, you know that I do think that the move to the CLC is a good one. And perhaps given the high turnout, the historically high turnout of Ward 2, perhaps it justifies the split. Because we all know that it only takes a very small reason for anyone to say, well, I'm not going to vote today because it's I'm wearing the wrong shirt, or, you know, it's a little too far. I think we want to make sure we make it easy for people to vote. So when folks heard that it's moved to the other side, you know, folks who live along Bridge Street Neck, they're less likely to go in person. So that means we have to make it easy for them to do the mail-in ballot. So my question is whether we're going to set up the ballot drop-off boxes throughout the city. Is that something that's been discussed?
Yes, 2 are on their way and 2 more are coming. We have 4 total right now. There's still a drop box, and the 5th one will be right outside of City Hall that's currently there. The drop boxes are going to Central. They're going to the fire stations because we felt that it had more visibility and 24-hour kind of surveillance and 24-hour manned stations. So they are going to the central headquarters on Lafayette and Derby Street there. The one will be going up by Loring Ave on the fire station and Loring Ave across from the Salem State, because at some point, you know, with the Salem State students, there's one going in Ward 2 on Essex Street Fire Station across from Mandy's there, and the other will be in North Salem at the Fire Street in North Salem as well. And for right now, the downtown one is the drop box that's right in front of City Hall. And there is the vote by mail. There's the early voting right at 98 Washington Street. Just keep in mind, the reason for doing this, as you all know, is COVID related. We really don't want people to go out to the polls this year. That's why there's so many options of voting by mail, voting in person throughout the week before the September 1st election, and of course going to the polls if you want to. That's why there's so many options offered this time. They can mail it back at their prepaid mail back from that the state is paying for it. They come right here. The drop boxes, you know, voting early, 7 days before September 1st. There's a lot of options. So, you know, we can look at other buildings, but for now, you know, my staff is very, very not overwhelmed. I mean, it's just a lot, and right now, that's what we need to do in terms of keeping them together with a big enough spot to social distance and such. So those drop boxes are available, Councilor Medor.
Okay, thank you. And then for those who do want to vote in person, and if they're especially unable to go there physically without any assistance, does the Council on Aging plan on doing on-demand rides?
I had
No?
I had a conversation with the director, Teresa Arnold, transportation director Annie O'Shea, and the licensed social worker there, Sharon Felton. And they are putting a transportation plan together. They are going to be available on election day just for elections. There is some social distancing of only 4 allowed in the van. I haven't, before I met right then before I left on vacation, I haven't touched base since I've been back. But I know that they are setting up certain locations, and they know that because of Dalton, 45 St. Peter's and 205 Bridge, that they're concentrating in that area, as well as like Loring, anywhere that there's, some elderly housing. So there will be some plans, and I think you can still call for rides that day, but I know they are trying to put something in place and advertise that. I'm looking into getting a school bus for the day. To go around and also pick up people. If it doesn't happen for September, it'll definitely happen for November. So there will be rides to the polls that way, which normally our office has we try to stay out of the rides to the polls because that's usually from candidates, but because of everything happening this year, I've made sure that there will be some type of availability, especially for the seniors.
Great. And I just forwarded you the feedback that I got maybe a few hours ago. And this is a resident who lives in the Bridge Street Neck neighborhood. And she made a suggestion about holding the Ward 2 location in a future election at the PEMS atrium, which I thought, that's a big space, and perhaps there could be some consideration there. But is that a location that your office ever considered?
Not currently, only because it's on a pedestrian mall. We're talking about parking. We're talking about availability for, handicap placards, parking. Just being, again, a private facility where they're set up and breakdown. I would think that might be even less accessible in terms of because it is on the pedestrian mall. But we can certainly look at that. We can certainly look at it. I don't know if they would be open to it. And then I try to stay away from some privately owned places.
Yeah, I just wanted to be able to respond to her question. I didn't know if you had ever had discussion.
Honestly, no, I didn't. I mean, at one point we couldn't look at places that served alcohol, like the Hawthorne Hotel, the ballrooms, but with COVID, actually, it's become, they just can't serve it in the room now. So that's how much they've expanded our options. But I think we have a very nice community life center that we need, to be used. And that was my first thought. And that's where I went.
I have a couple more questions. I'll be quick. So in terms of procedure, if there are any changes that need to be made that come out of this meeting, do we have to have another meeting to vote on that, or do we have enough time to make those changes? It has to be tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what type of changes you're talking about, but by law, by the new election law, I had to do my adverse impact. I've already sent it to the state, which they've approved. I had to put it on the website 3 days before this meeting, and I've had to have this meeting 20 days before the polling, before the election happens.
Okay.
And basically, I think Wednesday might be the last day, but then I don't have enough time to put a new report together. I mean, there was a lot of work that went into these changes, and the survey that had to be done for the state just be accessible for all these places. So I'm not sure what changes you're trying to amend.
No, none at all. I think just trying to understand the schedule and the timing we're working with. I know it's really tight. So that's why I don't want to propose any drastic changes. But I'll just make one final comment. I think we ideally want 100% voter turnout, but we're really restricted by our staff capacity, and that's really unfortunate because we're working under extraordinary circumstances and with a really tight budget. I really wish that we could support the elections office and the city clerk's work as much as we can to make sure that we expand opportunities. And very often we hear, we have the office has really has issues with staff, and I find that it's something that we can overcome, right? So it's very disappointing that we aren't able to get the ideal election environment because of resource issues. And I hope that in future budget discussions, we can really look at this seriously and make sure that the city clerk's office is staffed up so that we can run the best election that we can. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Council Dibble.
I was able to, if I can just comment on that, Council President, I have been able to hire 2 additional part-time, full-time people for the election in the staff, because there are technically 2.5 people down in room 5, and and Councilor Dominguez can attest to, I had like 7 volunteers today upstairs getting out the majority of the first rush of the batches of ballots that we had out. I mean, it is a daunting task for the 351 cities and towns that are out there. I'm not alone in this. We have a great group of city and town clerks. I mean, it is difficult, and anybody, yes, we can all use extra hands and bodies in our offices, but we persevere and we overcome. As much as we might, like to let our, thoughts known at times, but I do have a good group, and we have been able, because of COVID and CARES Act, been able to do some things that we normally wouldn't have been able to do, and hopefully the state will also reimburse some of the things that we've been putting through the city budget. But I appreciate that, and I'd be willing to talk to you more about Ward 2. I know we talked about it right before COVID hit, Counselor, about going to the Community Life Center for moving out of St. Peter's permanently to a city building. So if you want to pursue that more before next year, we can certainly do that. Doing it this way allows me not, though, to have to notify each and every voter in every ward. That's why we mentioned about doing reverse 911 and robocalls and emails and websites, because we don't have to take the Mass General Law and notify the voters the way that we normally have to. So that's another reason for doing it this way.
Thank you, Councilor Dibble and Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say, I don't think we're restricted at all by the staff in the city clerk's office. I think they do a phenomenal job. It's been proven that they do a great job in elections. I think what we need to do, or what the general public just needs to do, is use their right and get out and vote. It's not the city clerk's job to hold people's hand and go and vote. So that to me is not an issue at all. I do agree with the Ward 2 counselor when she says it's nice to be able to go and walk to your polling place. I've heard that from a few people in Ward 7. I don't have any questions of the city clerk at all. I talked to her in great detail last week on the rationale of why Ward 7 has to go over to the high school, and she answered all my questions, did a great job in her answering, so I thank her for that and thank the staff. It's just the fact that there's really no other option in the 2 precincts in Ward 7. There's no school, there's no public buildings, there's really no place else to go. Perhaps back to the Ward 5 fire station that we used to vote in years ago, but that's not that very good option either. So I think the high school is really the best option for both precincts in Ward 7. I support that move. I do want to comment on the van rides. That needs to be citywide for every precinct. We just can't identify Ward 2 or any specific ward. If we're going to offer it to one precinct, one person, one precinct, we have to offer it to everybody citywide. My opinion, but my opinion doesn't matter. The city clerk knows the law, I'm sure. The other issue is there being no place in Ward 7 to move into is an example that Ward 7 is the only ward in the city without an elementary school. It'd be nice to get an elementary school back there. Just a little plug for an elementary school in Ward 7. Madam City Clerk, I think you did a great job answering all my questions, and your whole staff, they do a great job in every election, so keep at it.
Just to clarify, Councilor Dill, I'm sorry if I gave you the wrong impression that the rides are only being offered for Ward 2. They're not. What our conversation was citywide, we definitely made sure we talked about the people up at 1000 Loring Ave, all the way from each corner to each corner of the city, being able to fulfill their needs if we can. But it's citywide, the Council on Aging transportation, but it might not be enough, but it's a start.
Great, thank you, and thank you, Mr. President.
Council Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to echo the good Ward 7 councilor. I want to thank Aline and her staff for all your hard work. I trust your picks. I agree with the logistics as I looked over the list. In all our wards, if people could walk to spread out. In Ward 4, you got all the way people out living near Lynn, and then on the other end living near Peabody. So the people that live close, they can walk. But like I said, I just want to thank you again for your hard work in picking these locations. I think you're doing a great job, and I want to thank your staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Anyone else? Councilor Prozinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Madam Clerk, I believe that there's been some parking changes made at the high school because of the election, the amount of people coming and going with their vehicles. They're not going to be restricted to using the parking lot, but they're opening up the lanes in front of the high school for temporary parking for people to go in and vote, which should make it a lot easier. Is that correct?
That's what we always did. Last year was the first election that they actually stopped us from going in the fire lane, but there's no school in session on September 1st and November 3rd too. So I will be able to use that up and down and then whatever else in the parking lot as well.
It should make it a lot easier for people to come and go.
That's where we always had parking, so yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
All right. Councilor Dibble,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Madore,
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo,
Yes.
Councilor Prozinski,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
and Councilor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the order that was submitted by the city clerk for the changing of polling locations, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Matter carries. Council Dibble.
Yep, you're on mute, Councilor Dibble.
I'll do it.
Okay, go ahead, Councilor Torrio.
Council Turtle.
Mr. President, I move for immediate reconsideration. The hope will not prevail.
Councilor Turtle moves for immediate reconsideration. Hopes does not prevail. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll? It's obviously a same as reconsideration. So it's you don't want to reconsider, it's no.
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
No.
No.
I'm sorry. No.
Thank you.
Voting on reconsideration.
That's correct.
Is that a nay, Councilor Dibble?
That's correct.
Councilor Dominguez?
No.
Councilor Flynn?
No.
Councilor Hapworth?
No.
Councilor Madore?
No.
Councilor Marcillo?
No.
Councilor Prozinski?
No.
Councilor Riccardi?
No.
Councilor Sargent?
No.
Councilor Torrio?
Nope.
And Councilor McCarthy.
Well, on the matter of reconsideration, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the negative. The matter does not carry. Reconsideration fails. Further communication with city officials.
We have the following order that was submitted by the city clerk relative to the September 1st, 2020 election order. Counselor Sargent, if you'd like to read the order.
Thank you. Ordered that the meetings of the qualified voters of the city of Salem be held in the several voting precincts in the city at the polling places designated hereinafter on Tuesday, September 1st, 2020, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the purpose of casting votes in the state primary election for the candidates of political parties for the following offices. I would entertain a motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Motion to waive the reading, so moved. Council Sergeant.
Be it further ordered that the following places be and hereby are designated as polling places for said voting. And I further would entertain a waiving of the
So
reading.
moved.
Thank you very much. Be it further ordered that the polls for said voting be opened from 7 a.m., closed at 8 p.m., and that the city clerk be instructed to post this notice as required by law. I move adoption by roll call vote.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing
Open.
none, Madam City Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Flynn,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Madore,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Krasnowski,
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi,
Yes.
Counselor Sargent,
Yes.
Counselor Torrio,
Yes.
and Counselor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the order of the qualified for the primary election, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Council Sergeant.
I move for immediate reconsideration and I hope that it does not prevail.
Council Sergeant moves for immediate reconsideration. Hope does not prevail. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble,
Yes.
No.
Counselor Dominguez.
Sorry, no.
No.
Oh.
That's
Thank you. Sorry.
okay.
Sorry, Council. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry.
Counselor Dominguez,
No.
Thank you.
Counselor Flynn,
No.
Counselor Hapworth,
No.
Counselor Madore,
No.
Counselor Marcillo,
No.
Counselor Krasnowski,
No.
Counselor Riccardi,
No.
Counselor Sargent,
No.
Counselor Torrio,
Nope.
and Counselor McCarthy.
No, on the matter of reconsideration, we have 11 member votes and 11 in the negative. The matter does not prevail. Unfinished business.
We have a traffic ordinance amending resident sticker Lafayette Street.
Council Double.
I noticed that, thank you, Mr. President. I noticed that using the space bar when you're on a different page on one computer, it does not work. So here it goes. Would anybody like to waive the reading on this one, or do I need to read the whole thing?
Just have to move.
Oh, wait, wait.
It's a traffic ordinance amending resident sticker at Lafayette Street. Second passage of the following ordinance for second passage, final passage was taken up in the year 2020. An ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, chapter 42, section 75, parking prohibited tow zone, and be it ordained by the city council of the city of Salem. And the reading is waived. Is that correct, Mr. President?
That's correct. Just need
I
to
move
make a motion.
I move for adoption for second and final, I move for adoption for second passage by roll call vote.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble,
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez,
Yes.
Counselor Flynn,
Yes.
Counselor Hapworth,
Yes.
Counselor Madore,
Yes.
Counselor Marcillo,
Yes.
Counselor Krasnowski,
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi,
Yes.
Counselor Sargent,
Yes.
Counselor Torrio,
Yes.
and Counselor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the second passage relative to a traffic amendment, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have a traffic ordinance amending traffic sections 49, 51, 56, 57C for Washington Street, Dodge Street, and Dodge Street Court.
Councilor Turrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption for second and final pass by roll call vote.
Councilor Turrio moves for second and final pass by roll call vote. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Thibault,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Madore,
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo,
Yes.
Councilor Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
and Councilor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the second and final passage for the order relative to traffic amendments in and around Dodge Street, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have a traffic ordinance amending handicap parking Washington Square East.
Councilman Madore.
Mr. President, I move for second and final passage by roll call vote.
Councilor Madore moves to second and final passage of roll call vote. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Thibault,
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez,
Yes.
Councilor Flynn,
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth,
Yes.
Councilor Madore,
Yes.
Councilor Marcillo,
Yes.
Councilor Kwasniewski,
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi,
Yes.
Councilor Sargent,
Yes.
Councilor Torrio,
Yes.
and Councilor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the second passage for our traffic ordinance amending handicap parking Washington Square East, we have 11 members voting, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Anyone else? Council Sergeant.
I hereby move for adjournment.
Council Sergeant moves for adjournment. All those in favor, all those opposed, we stand adjourned. Nice seeing you all. Have a great rest of the summer.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Thank you.